previsión de crecimiento le ha trasladado el gobierno alemán a las embajadas para los próximos trimestres? ¿Cuáles son o cuáles se prevén que van a ser las medidas de estímulo para medidas anticrisis desde el gobierno alemán?
Well, there would be two things I would like to, on a personal note, would like to comment on this question. Number one is, as it stands now, let's say previsiones. Now, this is the first time. This is the first time I don't find an English word and have a Spanish word instead. The forecast, yes, of course. Now I feel quite good about that, I must say. But the forecasts at the moment still say that we will see some slump in this year 2019, but that there could be a rebound in 2020, moderately, of course. We're not sure about that. The question about those medidos which are necessary, I think personally, that we should use medidos when we are in a serious crisis and not when we have what we call, let's say, a more technical slump or disacceleration. Because if you use all your, or if you shoot all your bullets right now, you know, you will have nothing left in your barrel when it really gets serious. I think that. At the moment, the main challenges are not so much the lack of investment, but the pressure from the exterior. Let's say the international commercial trade, free trade. You know, the challenge to free trade, the effects of the Brexit, which we still do not. Cannot quantify exactly. I think that there are a number of questions which need to be resolved, and I think at the moment, I think this is also the position of the government, is that these are the main factors at the moment for this slump right now.
Hay otra pregunta. Tiene que ver, es de una persona también de la sala. Usted ha hablado en su exposición sobre que hay que hacer más Europa. Y la pregunta directa es, ¿qué es lo que impide en estos momentos que haya mucho más Unión Europea, ¿no? ¿Qué pasos se tienen que dar para establecer esas políticas comunes, económicas, fiscales, civiles, que a lo mejor no se pueden dar porque a lo mejor van en detrimento de la soberanía de cada uno de los Estados miembros? Pero la pregunta es, ¿se pueden dar más pasos para hacer más Europa? ¿Es posible?
I think one thing is absolutely necessary if you are talking about progress in Europe, that is patience. Anything which is being decided amongst the 27 needs a lot of time. That is something which is, for a lot of people seems a bit, let's say, difficult, hard to understand. But we're talking here about 27 countries, 27 sets of interests, and they have to be brought together. I think that in that sense, Europe has done up to now a tremendous job in keeping these, well, different interests together. We're talking of 27 countries, sovereign countries, which have decided to join their interests in the Union, in the European Union, but still, of course, have their own national elections, they have their own electorate, they have their own aspirations, they have their own traditions, and all that needs to be put together. So one thing is working hard on further deepening of the European Union is, of course, important, and not being disappointed or frustrated by the speed. Well, speed is a bit the wrong word probably in that sense. The pace of development which we have in Europe. Up to now, we always tend to see things more pessimistically than they actually are, as I would say. I think that the common position on the Brexit, which we have maintained up to today, although many countries have different interests in that sense as well. I think that that is something nobody would have thought possible, let's say 2 or 3 years ago.
Muy bien. Usted ha comentado, hay otra pregunta sobre la previsión de el futuro de las inversiones y el comercio entre los dos países, ¿no? Especialmente las inversiones alemanas, de empresas alemanas en España. Usted ha dicho que en su discurso que los números son buenos hasta el momento, pero ahora entramos en un escenario distinto y hay una preocupación latente, al ser uno de los principales inversores, de que esto pueda cambiar. ¿Usted cree que puede cambiar esa inversión desde Alemania hacia España, especialmente la industria del automóvil? ¿Puede afectar esta crisis en la que nos estamos empezando a meter?
Of course, that is a difficult question to answer, but we all are witnessing the problems the automobile industry is encountering right now. I mean, the whole question of transformation, of ecological transformation on the one hand, and on the other hand, of course, all the question of a new concept of traffic and of especially in the cities are putting a major challenge to the mere concept of the individual transport, and that will have its effects on the industry. Now, I feel that the industry is coping or is trying to cope with these challenges. They can get out of these problems, let's say, stronger than they were before. But it is very difficult, and Spain and Germany have a very strong automobile industry, and therefore they will both need to see to it that we continue to keep at the top of technological innovation. That's why I stress so much the fact that we need to cooperate not only, let's say, the traditional inversiones of industry, but we also need to cooperate in alto tecnología, because I think that is something where the key of success of the European industry lies.
Bien. Otra pregunta de un periodista, dice: en los últimos días hemos leído que Alemania quiere limitar el presupuesto europeo al 1% del PIB en lugar del 1.13%. Propuesto por la Comisión. ¿En qué políticas cree el gobierno alemán que se podría recortar financiación? Esa es una primera pregunta. Y la segunda pregunta tiene que ver también con su exposición. ¿Es compatible menos presupuesto europeo con más Europa?
That's a difficult question, which is even too difficult to answer in English. Well, this is a negotiating process, and it's going to be hard. And some people say it's the most difficult negotiation on a financial framework in the history of Europe. Why? Because, of course, again, the absence of the contribution of Great Britain is felt. You know, it's not like somebody wants to curtail the expense. It's like a contributor is gone. And the question of 1% means, in German terms, it is that we have to foot a bill of 45 billion euros. So 1% is already a lot, of course, but it's a negotiating process, of course. The thing is, and that's why the negotiations are so difficult this time and so different, the whole, let's say, framework of the presupuestos europeos will be different, because we have different challenges. We need to leave, let's say, the traditional path of structural subsidies and all. You know, we need to have new challenges which we have to care for. The migratory issues are the one. The whole issue of research and development is another. There are different other challenges which need a budget, and which don't have a budget up to now. So, of course, you could say, well, all right, let's take the money we have now and let's just put it on top But of course, you also have to see that that it has to be financially sustainable. And I think there is a major challenge. I think that the traditional areas of the European budget will probably need to be revised so that new areas of cooperation and of European activities can be financed.
Uh-huh. Hay más cuestiones sobre temas económicos. Hace 10 años aproximadamente Europa sufrió una crisis económica muy fuerte. La Unión Europea fue muy rígida con el tema de cumplir los presupuestos a nivel nacional y evitar el déficit. Ahora que volvemos a estar con posible riesgo económico, se habla de que de nuevo, y de hecho hay diferentes partidos políticos a lo largo de Europa que opinan que debería haber más gasto público, más gasto social, y eso supondría evidentemente un déficit en los presupuestos. Usted estuvo además en Atenas, conoció cerca, ¿no?, la situación en concreto del país griego. ¿Existe el peligro, existe el riesgo de que podamos volver a tener una situación similar a la de hace una década, con posibles inestabilidades presupuestarias y tensiones dentro de la Unión Europea por este motivo?
Well, first of all, I think that we have done a lot of the necessary homework since the Greek crisis, let's say. Mm-hmm. The whole setting of rules and institutions, financial institutions in the Eurozone have changed quite substantially, and I think we are better equipped now to deal with a crisis than we were, let's say, 10 years ago. I think that the European partners did a good job in defining mechanisms in order to, especially to avoid that taxpayers get confronted with, let's say, problems of banks. I think we have here in our stability mechanisms, which we have developed, we have done a lot. We're certainly not at the end of the road. The banking union, for example, which is also in development, needs to be fulfilled and needs to be, which is a difficult task, of course. But I think we are in a different situation than 10 years ago. Mm-hmm. Having said that, I think the set of rules which the Europeans have given themselves to have a balance between expenditure on the one hand, but let's say structural efficiency on the other hand, is a balance which I think we should not jeopardize.
Uh-huh. Gracias. Cambiamos el segmento de preguntas sobre cuestiones económicas y nos vamos a otro tipo de preguntas. Uno es el tema del nacionalismo, el populismo, los extremismos. Recorren en toda Europa. Alemania tiene este problema. Hay un grupo en concreto que es el de, a ver si lo digo bien, AfD, que supone también una parte importante del panorama político alemán. Y lo que, bueno, recientemente el propio líder, Andreas Kalbitz, decía que la extrema derecha está aquí para quedarse. Es un fenómeno, no es coyuntural, sino permanente. ¿Cree que este fenómeno de extrema derecha, que está en distintos países, puede afectar a la propia estructura de la Unión Europea, en concreto también con las políticas migratorias? ¿Esto puede generar tensión? ¿Cuál es su opinión?
Well, my guess is as good as yours, and there are a lot of people here in this room who have an opinion on that. So I would just let's say, suggest or propose my personal view on that is that we need to deal politically with this phenomenon of, let's say, political extremism that is in each and every country that has a different, let's say, connotation, a different tradition as well. Mm-hmm. It is a question of dealing with views which, let's say, are not necessarily or are not at all somehow in harmony with our basic democratic values, which stood at the birth of the European Union. I think that this is a political debate we have here, and I think the democratic parties have a strong point in their argumentation. I think that the results of the European elections have also shown that people are, the voters have a very clear view of their interests, and still I am quite sure that we need this debate. We should not suppress the debate. We need this debate, but we need to stand our ground very clearly.
Uh-huh. Bueno, vamos terminando porque ya es casi la hora. Acaba de ser este mes el 80 aniversario del inicio de la Segunda Guerra Mundial. Se ha hecho una efeméride. Ha habido unos actos de conmemoración de la invasión de Polonia. El presidente de Rusia, Vladimir Putin, no ha sido invitado. Es el gran ausente de esta efeméride. 3 décadas después de la caída del comunismo, todavía vemos a Moscú como una amenaza. ¿Cuáles son los pasos que se deben dar para dejar de tener esta situación que es un tanto incómoda en Europa con Rusia?
Well, first of all, I think this year, 2019, has a lot of dates which remind us of where we come from. The launching of the war in 1939 by the Germans in attacking Poland is one of the dates. The other date is, of course, the end of the First World War, and there are dates which the creation, the deliberation on the Constitution of Weimar, the creation of our new West German, or at that time West German Constitution, Grundgesetz in 1949, the fall of the wall in 1989. We know very clearly, we Europeans, where we come from, and I think it is very important, and that's why these years are very important, and also the commemoration is very important to remember where we come from. I think that's a very important feature, and we Europeans do well to cultivate. Sounds a bit like going to church, but we need to memorize, let's say, what we have, or remember just what we have, where we come from, and what has happened in a different European setting. Now, it would go a bit beyond my portfolio to comment on the European-Russian relations. So let's just say that one thing is that in the long run, we need good and strong and reliable relations to our neighbor in the east of Europe. Now, the way to get there is, of course, open to debate, but there's no way that we should not try to overcome the gap between we see now between us Europeans on the one hand and our Russian neighbors on the other hand.
Muy bien, pues ya es la hora. Hay una serie de cuestiones que han quedado en el tintero, como decimos aquí en España, ¿no? Que sobre políticas migratorias, turismo, cómo va el turismo, que es tan importante, el turismo alemán en España, más cuestiones sobre el Brexit que están en la mesa, las relaciones con Estados Unidos y su presidente Donald Trump, la regla comercial con China, y por supuesto fútbol, que lógicamente siempre.
Football is the only question I would not accept. Maybe in a couple of years, when German football has recovered, we can come back to that subject.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias, señor Dold, enhorabuena por la exposición. No ha evitado más que aquellas preguntas que eran realmente comprometedoras desde un punto de vista diplomático. Gracias por estar con nosotros en Executive Forum. Espero pues más adelante de nuevo volver a invitar al embajador alemán y esperamos contar con todos ustedes de nuevo. Muchísimas gracias.